Don't throw away old batteries. Most people see them as waste, but inside, there are materials that can still be incredibly useful. They can even bring a cloudy headlight back to life. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'll show you 3 practical ways to reuse old batteries, from restoring headlights to building simple tools at home. Do you usually throw away old batteries like these without a second thought? Don't do that, because today I'm going to use them to bring a dull, cold, cloudy car headlight back to life, fix small metal parts, and show you a simple method you can use at home to solve problems like this without spending money. I start by placing 2 old batteries into a pot of boiling water. This step helps soften the outer layers and makes the disassembly easier. I let them sit for a short moment, then carefully take them out using tongs. Always handle them with care, because even old batteries can still be hazardous if handled roughly. While working on this, it's important to understand why you shouldn't just throw batteries away. Inside, there are heavy metals like lead, mercury, and cadmium. If they end up in landfills, they can leak into soil and groundwater. In some cases, damaged batteries can even cause fires. That's why reusing parts like this not only saves money, but also reduces environmental impact. Now we move to the teardown. I hold the battery firmly with pliers and begin peeling away the outer shell. Take your time here. Inside, there are layers that need to be removed one by one. As I open it up, you can see the packed carbon material and the central carbon rod. I separate both and set them aside. These are the key materials we're going to use. Next, I take the zinc shell from the battery and cut it into small pieces. I place those pieces into a glass container. Then, I carefully add a 22% hydrochloric acid solution. This creates a chemical reaction that produces a liquid flux. This solution works similarly to rosin, which is commonly used in soldering. It helps clean the metal surface, remove oxidation, and allows the solder to flow more smoothly. This mixture needs time to sit, so I leave it aside to react fully before using it later. Now let's prepare this carbon mixture. I take the carbon powder and place it into a bowl. Then I pour in a small amount of Coca-Cola and begin mixing. At first, it looks simple, but there's a reason this works. The mild acidity in the soda helps break down oxidation on plastic surfaces, while the carbon adds a slight abrasive effect. Together, they create a compound that can help restore cloudy plastic. Now let's take a look at the headlight. You can see the surface is dull, cloudy, and worn from years of sun and weather exposure. I apply the carbon mixture evenly across the surface. Make sure to spread it out so it covers the entire working area. Once that's done, I place a layer of tissue over it. This helps keep the mixture in place and allows the reaction to work more effectively. Now we let it sit and do its job. While that is working, I move back to the carbon rod. I clean it and prepare it for shaping. To sharpen one end, I use a cordless drill and coarse sandpaper. I let the drill spin while gently pressing the rod against the sandpaper. This creates a clean, pointed tip that will work as a heating element. Now, I gather the materials for the mini welding tool. I take 2 wires and strip about ½ inch of insulation from each end. Then I attach alligator clips to those exposed ends. These clips will help create temporary electrical connections. I repeat the process for both wires. Next, I connect one end of each wire to a 12-volt battery. The remaining ends are used to hold the carbon rod and connect to the metal surface we want to work on. When electricity flows through the carbon rod, it generates heat at the contact point. This heat is strong enough to melt small amounts of metal, allowing us to create a simple weld. This is the basic principle behind this mini tool. Now, let's go back to the headlight. I remove the tissue and rinse off the carbon mixture with water. Then I begin sanding. First, I use 1000 grit sandpaper. I keep the surface wet while sanding to reduce friction and avoid scratching. This step removes the oxidized layer. After that, I rinse again and switch to 1500 grit sandpaper. This finer grit smooths the surface further and prepares it for polishing. Then I apply a small amount of toothpaste and continue polishing. Toothpaste acts as a mild abrasive and helps bring back clarity. Once finished, I rinse it again and let it dry completely. While waiting for the headlight to dry, I return to the welding tool. Now it's time to test it. I connect the alligator clips to the battery terminals. Then I lightly touch the carbon tip to another metal contact. You can see a small spark appear. That tells us the tool is working. I start with something simple. a thin piece of metal like a razor blade. I bring the carbon tip close and apply heat. The metal begins to melt slightly, and I can fuse the pieces together. Once it cools, I test the strength. It holds. Next, I move to a slightly more difficult task, a broken stainless steel handle. Before welding, I apply a small amount of the acid-based solution we prepared earlier. This step is important. It cleans the surface and improves the bonding. Then I apply heat with the carbon tip. Slowly, the metal begins to fuse. It takes a bit more time, but the connection forms. Finally, I test it on a broken metal mesh. Again, I apply the solution first, then use the tool. The weld holds. For small repairs like this, the tool works surprisingly well. Now we move to the final step for the headlight. I prepare a small amount of acetone and pour it into a container. Then I gently heat it so it produces vapor. If you don't have a specialized container, you can use an empty soda can. Seal the top with foil, insert a straw, and use a hairdryer to heat the bottom. This creates a simple vapor system. As the acetone vapor contacts the plastic, it softens the outer layer and restores clarity. You can see the change almost immediately. The surface becomes smoother and more transparent. Now take a look at the comparison. One side is still cloudy, while the treated side looks clear and refreshed. The difference is easy to see. So, instead of throwing away old batteries, you can use them to create something useful. You can restore worn surfaces and even build simple tools for small repairs. It doesn't take expensive equipment, just a bit of time and attention. If you found this helpful, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd like to hear how you would use this method. And if you enjoy practical projects like this, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss the next one.